Hey guys, welcome to a new video here on my channel. I've asked you about it in my last video and you got tweeted out to me and really wanted to see it. So today we are covering my feature match from the round 9 at the UK Open in Liverpool last weekend. I was 7-1 and my opponent as well. Shoutouts to you, and also shoutouts to Konami for streaming, shoutouts to the casters, such a great job. And the complete stream will be linked down below, so don't forget to check it out, don't forget to watch it entirely. And yeah, we played against MALISS with our yugioh, AZAMINA, Dark Magician, however you want to call it, and we lost the dice roll. So it's going to be an interesting game for sure. We can instantly hop in. So I lost the dice roll as I already said, and yeah, my hand right now is... Did you just hear them telling my final was funny? And I showed expression because I got rolled. I'm sorry. Yeah, so my hand is Ash Blossom, no, not Ash Blossom. My hand is Veiler, John Lockbird, Capsi, Piri, and Coldbite. Obviously, two-hand traps is always pretty good, but as you can see, my opponent starts with normal summon. Rabbit. So, normal summon Rabbit is pretty annoying. I mean, obviously, if you play against MALISS, you always play the Jisbrig, because it's not very unlikely, but he starts with normal summon Rabbit. So we get to think whether we want to use our Veiler here. And you can look at my expression right on the top left corner. I'm not happy seeing a Rabbit here. Like, he doesn't have to use Dormouse here, and if I let it through and he has an extender, my Veiler is completely useless. Like, for example, he just sets TB11 or the trap that specials on the deck, or that's 11, or W06. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he sets any trap then that he can use to dodge my Imperm or my Veiler or my target negate. And he doesn't instantly use it because he already has an extended hand. That would make my Veiler completely useless, because if I want to Veiler a ransom or whatever, he could just dodge it, and I would have to keep my Veiler for a potential wizard, backup, or wicked on the firewall at the end, which is also fine. But I feel like, especially with my Dollar Lockbird in hand, which cuts him off getting a bunch of buddies, I would rather set him on heavy extender that he would probably also already have, which just turns my Veiler kinda useless. So I felt like Veilering here is the right thing to do, and yeah.
Exactly. So my trap is it's an interesting MALISS starter because it's not the best one, but it's also kind of hard to interact with. He does switch from attack Veiler here.
Yeah, I chose the Veiler, he just links it off, so he has an extender, and one of them is Marcher. So Marcher just plays easy through my Veiler, and he's gonna summon Red Ransom. So our only hand trap at this point is John Lockbird, and he searches with the Red Ransom. So he searches MALISS in the mirror. What does searching MALISS in the mirror tell us? It tells us two things. First of all, he either already has a field spell, or he already has an extender to play. And it also tells us that he either gets to keep this for our turn as an interrupt, or can banish it, for example, Chessie or whatever, to get more follow-up. Both things are pretty annoying. Like, you would rather have him search a field spell here, just because it means he doesn't have another extender in hand, and he doesn't get to search an Imperm like card, but he searches MALISS in the mirror. And yeah, whereas obviously we have to draw here or the Dollar Lockbird. John is still fine. Like, he can't search off Wicked, he can't search off backup, he can't draw with Chessie, and so on. He can't use Allure, for example. So Dollar Lockbird is very good against MALISS, but yeah, he can capitalize on having the extenders in hand and doing combo. So at this point we're just watching what he's doing. He thinks what he's doing, and yeah, as we see, he has the extender that I mentioned earlier. He has a backup, obviously can't search, and links it up into SP. This is a nice line to banish Ransom, to just keep extending, and this way he gets access to Dormouse. Look at me, I'm not happy at the top left corner. My hand is Capsi, Piri, and Coldbite, so at this point I don't think I'm winning this one.
you might see him being able to set up both a hard scripter and a light code talker.
Yes, and I feel like that's very much where we're going right now. We're getting the Chelsea cats into rotation here.
Yeah.
Also, just a large amount of cards in the hand for Callum.
He's just
Especially when
playing.
Tom has already used 2 cards. It can always be a little bit scary to see that many cards from your opponent still. So,
Ooh, we see a link decoder. That's interesting.
yes.
Link
So,
cycle.
Yeah, the link decoder is interesting. He forgot that SP is not a cyber, so he can't go into heat soul there. Obviously, I knew that he can't use it.
yes.
So the link disciple will actually just stick there for no reason. But yeah, I think that's not the main issue here. Callum was such a nice guy. He taught me that he just returned from not playing for 9 months. So taking MALISS is very interesting. Like, you have to interact with your opponent pretty good. So yeah, slight mistakes like this can occur. So at this point, I'm just shuffling his deck, and we know he has 1 imperm like card form of MALISS in the mirror, and he has 1 Light Code Talker, which is an omni-negate that banishes whatever I use when he tributes the red ransom. He has 1 card in hand, and yeah, that's not that easy to play through. But what we know, if the last card in hand is not a MALISS, then he can't use a light code and mirror in the same chain. So in my head, I don't remember what I drew. I think we're gonna see a discard eventually. But in my head right now, I have to get to a point where my buddies, where I get 2 buddies on the field, Snatchy and 1 level 1. So I can always make sure to be able to chain Snatchy to my effects to not lose to his banish negate. And what we know, he has to use MALISS in the mirror first. If he doesn't, and his last card in hand is not a Marcher, which we don't know about, then he would not be able to use the light code anymore. So if you don't play in the MALISS in the mirror that early, we are good to go.
There's a bit of instruction as well, right?
Yeah, it comes with 4 cards. Like 4 cards is really rough to ask into this board, but it's doable.
Exactly. So we're just going to see exactly where Tom is starting into this round.
Okay.
And we're just going to wait and see exactly where
We
Tom
start with
is.
preview here, just searching Cupsy,
Right? And that is just the best
paying
way to get
4k,
the
which
outside of
doesn't
maybe
matter in this
usable,
matchup at all.
but
The thing is,
And yeah, I think what is our last card in hand? I didn't see
you
it.
don't really want to use the Light Code Talker to tribute the red ransom because I feel like you need to MALISS in the mirror bench red ransom.
Yeah, we just normal summon the Cupsy, and as you can see in my expression, we are not using the effect here, as I said. If we normal summon this and he just uses the light code, like knowing our hand, we just lose on the spot. So we just don't use it so he doesn't get value from the mirror and from the light code.
right on this Cupsy.
Yeah.
Not even activating
Oh, he's not really unlucky, right?
Because Snatchy, we also don't use the effect like whenever we actually get a synchro summon and we summon Snatchy, for example, we will get the effect later. So at this point, there's no point. It would just get a light code and we would concede.
It just normal summons it, goes no effects.
Go straight into the Snatchy.
So we special Snatchy, Cupsy, and we do use the effect here. Just because, as I said earlier, we are able to tag out with our Snatchy and synchro off when he tries to interact with it.
It's kind of performance.
And that's what he tries to do. He tries to interact with it. So we just chain Snatchy, and like even for example, he uses a light code here to tribute off the red ransom as he just tries to or wants to do. If he doesn't have a MALISS in hand, we get to resolve our Cupsy, and Cupsy search as Marshmallow or Surprise, and we can still play. So if the last card in hand is a MALISS, obviously we can't do anything. But as you can see, he doesn't tribute it, which tells us it's not, but he uses Impulse here. He thought he has a trap in graveyard, but he forgot that we railed the rabbit. So he doesn't have a trap in grave, which at this point just doesn't do anything. Like Snatchy is not once per turn, and we are always like free to use it again. And at this point, Elico doesn't do anything because he doesn't have a link under it. So he uses Banished Red Ransom, and we can here just chain the Cupsy as a Snatchy to synchro off. And then in the new chain, we get to trigger for Searching 2, and when he wants to negate it, we can just take out, bring back the Snatchy, and place Field Spell, and then we have a lot of buddies. So at this point, it's pretty chill. We know the last card in hand could be a hand trick because it's not a MALISS. But yeah, as you see, we just chain the Snatchy here, going to Cupsy. I'm just making sure what the light code exactly does. But, yeah.
Because one of the ways you interact with Yami is basically not let them get into the first synchro monster. Once that happens, there's a
I
lot
thought
of
where I wanted to place it, like whether I place it in the Exa monster zone because gravity control is relevant, but I felt like it's not at this point.
Yeah, and then you feel like you're in such a really pivotal point, right?
Yeah.
Like, and now the cup seat is coming out.
He chose to not banish with Red Ransom, which is pretty interesting. He should probably have banished a rabbit and then kept the trap. But he just uses the effect to search fields, so he doesn't negate my Snatchy to search, which allows me to grab 2 names. And I just chain it anyways to get into buddies. Even here, he could just have negated it. Like, just negate and banish my Cupsy from the Exa deck. Like, I would have been totally fine. I could still have used my surprise, Snatchy plays, and then do the exact same thing. But, yeah, he chose to not negate it.
Yes, because Tom is a turn player, so I would assume Tom would have used the second one. After the summon.
There we go.
Yeah,
So Mazin's gonna be added here.
But like he's going to the most. It's a pretty good turn by Tom. He recognizes like the window that basically the Malice had to be used before the Ally Code Talker. Yeah, he does an order that's not orthodox. So he's rather than going use the Cup C on someone, he summons the Snatchy, uses the other Cup C so he can chain away to get rid of that.
This one we're just making sure there's nothing in the graveyard that we care about, and we can OTK him here.
And I think it's just like it just really rewards Tom for playing as correct as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And when you get into these,
I think the last card in it is Souls. Yeah, I remember now. Souls is like a very good extended because it always allows us to get access to our Yami engine. If, for example, he would have prevented us from bringing back 2.
situations, you can really see with the player caliber, just the better player, just make those correct plays, right? And the more accurate you are with them, it'll just reward you. So we're seeing Tom here resolving as many of his cards as possible here, and he's in such a favourite position now, I would say.
I guess now for Tom the big challenge is
Now he tries to prevent us from grabbing the field spell, and we're just gonna chain it again to get Lolly. Obviously, it prevents us from getting the field spell to get a bunch of damage in. As you can see, we do play another engine, as I mentioned earlier, and yeah, at this point it doesn't matter what we bring back. We have Surprise, and we have the Souls, so we just go into the bridge and accessing our AZAMINA engine here. So that's why it was nice that we didn't have to use our Cold by the Grave on the Rabbit in Graveyard, because now we can just discard it of Arcelia and search all that and bridge. As you can see in Callum's face, Callum isn't happy. Yeah, he just
and that one allows him to fusion summon.
sees a Whiting on the wall, we get to grab back, I think it's Cold by. So crazy interaction that you can grab back your Cold by or your Crossout off, for example. And yeah, we got wanted, I think. I think he just concedes at this point. Like, we get to Dragoon, we get to Silver, we get to use Surprise, we get to Souls. Like, I think he's even dead, because he was down to 5-3. But yeah, so this was like game 1. So guys, what you have to keep in mind, like, when I started the turn, I knew like exactly what my win option is. I knew if he has MALISS in hand, I think I'm losing this anyways. So realizing that my win option is him not having a MALISS in hand, and putting 2 buddies on the field and playing a bunch with Snatchy to dodge his interactions, was the way to go. And I feel like if you're able to like start your turn with this knowledge, it's a very good way to just start playing and try to interact with your opponent's unknown interactions. For example, the impulse, like we chose to valor the Rabbit earlier, which ended up not only playing around all his extenders in hand, because like, well, Valor would have been dead, but also cut him off accessing the trap, which is good because there's no White Binder anymore, and there's no other way for him to get another trap except of another Rabbit. So yeah, this was all sequenced, I think, pretty well, and that's what we ended up on top in this game. So we are just hiding here. I have to be honest, like I forgot my siding pattern against MALISS here. So I chose to side out the entire Diabell's AZAMINA engine. Like against MALISS, it's hard to bridge anyways, and what we could have done is just side in Subversion. But Subversion is not that crazy in this matchup, because if we get to push back the Red Ransom or the Crypto, that's best case scenario. But I feel like you would never get to the point, because you can always just TB11 or Crypto it. And just hiding in a bunch of hand traps and charmies against MALISS and put them on being able to play through a lot of hand traps. felt better in my situation. So that's what I did. I sided in a bunch of hand traps, Perulias, and so on and so forth.
We'll see how Callum decides to navigate it. I assume he's going first.
Yeah, heading into it looks like AZAMINA isn't.
So yeah, he doesn't look happy. And it's always crazy to give your opponent such a reading. Like, just look at his face.
Getting ready for this.
He's not happy.
He has a really good hand or really bad hand.
And yeah, exactly what the course is saying. Like, he started with Marshall. So this tells us that he has to banish either a trap, which doesn't make any sense. Like, it probably doesn't play yugioh, so the rebound trap. So he probably has to banish another Marcher here. Otherwise, he's just cooked. And I think our hand is Capsi, Surprise, Bell, Ash, and I don't remember.
Is there anything
We're gonna see it. We're gonna see it eventually.
This is like double pair. Just,
So he grabs it back.
I don't know, like basically like he has two multiple. So back in the day, when Splash Mage was
He
hard,
just sets this, so he has a trap, and
so it was like he specials
yeah.
it and then he.
we're just gonna Ash it here. Like at this point, he needs backup in hand or Wizard to keep playing. Obviously Domos, but yeah, he would have started with it. So at this point, we are feeling pretty safe.
And this is a phenomenal Ash boss in
He
there.
does have a mission shifter.
But he has Shifter. Shifter. The Shifter is pretty annoying. Like Yummy can't really play under Shifter. Like if you draw a bunch of Yummy names, you can easily set up like Snatchy and Field Spell, so you kind of take over it and be able to like cookie in your opponent's turn once the Shifter is not applying anymore. But yeah, our hand is just one engine surprise, and Shifter is pretty annoying here.
The Yummy deck can play a little bit under the
So he just sets one and passes. He never went into his deck, so there's no point of me to cutting. But yeah, as you can see, I just normal Cupsy and he flips Mistaken Arrest. So he's Shifter and Mistaken Arrest. Mistaken Arrest usually is not that good against Yummy, but like paired with Shifter, that was pretty annoying. I can't lie, like that was pretty annoying. So our hand right now is
Here it's also really good because like it sets him off
Surprise, Bell, and I think it's Imper.
accessing like minions, so he can like play here.
Yeah, there's no point of attacking. I think we just set one Imper and keep the surprise just in case we are getting. He's somehow able to play like top decks Dormos or whatever and has Marcher and to extend. Like even then we could just go Imper on Dormos and Bell. But for example, if he does RPs and just attacks over my Cupsy, we are completely cooked. We don't have to play. So we chose to keep the surprise just to be sure and stays there until our next turn and we can auto game.
There's one March here in hand.
So,
when Malice mostly is
he
really
top
good,
decks.
that would be like the best card because you get like 2 layers of play.
Exactly right here.
And then
Rabbit. Yeah, Rabbit is a pretty good top deck. Like if we would not have had the combination of Imperm and Bell, he would have been able to play. But yeah, here we just negate it and we use Marche on the Bell on the Marche. So he instantly concedes. Like he also throws a Marche in the graveyard. Obviously, it stays in the hand. The activation is just negated. It's not destroyed. And yeah, he obviously could just have attacked over my Cupsy. Cupsy had 0 and Linkoriro has 300. So yeah, I told him like instantly, if you look at my face, like I had Tenant was the last card in hand. So yeah, like please guys, for everyone listening, please do not ever scoop a game where you don't know that your opponent has a play. Like I also scooped games sometimes if I know it's over. But Callum, for example, here at this point, he didn't know that I have a play. Like if he just would have attacked over it, and I didn't have a play, then his Marcher next turn would have been crazy. Like then he would have won. So yeah, keep that in mind. Like even on the feature match, if you are like nervous or whatever, never scoop before you see a play from your opponent. Just against me, it's fine. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Game 2 was exactly what like the deck is supposed to do. You stop your opponent and you play with one engine card, and one engine card, one Yummy is OTK. So yeah, this is an approach that I was using this last weekend and also in Noise. And as you can see, it works out pretty well. Like obviously Di-Fi and Shifter and so on can be pretty annoying. But as you can see at the bottom here on my deck, we also sided Delta to try prevent getting hit by Di-Fi or whatever. So yeah, this is the match from the UK Open. There's another feature match from Sunday where I played the Cologne Regional. I played against a good friend of mine, Sven. If you're also interested in seeing that, then just let me know down in the comments below. This was me on Yummy Azamina against him on Vanquish Soul. Also a pretty interesting game. Funny enough, both of us didn't really sleep a lot. Like, we flew back during the night from Saturday on Sunday without a lot of sleep to get to Cologne, and he drove 6 hours from Munich to Cologne, so both of us completely tired, and we did some interesting plays, as I would say. But yeah, this is it for now, and yeah, shout out to everyone watching till this point, and yeah, see you next time.